Hello, Julie here and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I am sharing the layout that I created for the Cybercrop over at Mystical Scrapbooks. The thing this month is sketches, and I'm going to be using this sketch that I found on Pinterest. The sketch is by Brenda Ragsdale and it is from 2015. Now it gives the blog address there, but I checked out the blog and it hasn't been used since 2017, so it's not going anymore. But anyway, this is the sketch I'm going to use and this is my take on it. You can see I've made a couple of little changes, but not many. So I haven't really decided what papers I'm going to use. I've got a few here and they're all from Cocoa Vanilla. Some are from the Daydream collection and some are from the Sunkissed collection, and I've just got them out and I'm just going to see how they work out as I work my way through the layout. I've got a couple of photos from when my husband and I were in Cambodia, and I'm going to use white cardstock for my background. The sketch shows a few stars in the top left and the bottom right of the layout. Now I'm going to use my stencil, Dusty Attic stencil called Criss, and some of this Deco foil transfer gel to add some foil instead of having those separate flowers. I'm just going to do like a background of gold crosses. So I'm going to apply some of that Deco foil, Deco gel to the top left and the bottom right, and I'm going to set that aside to dry. This goes on a sort of milky colour and you have to let it dry before you apply your foil, so when the transfer gel is clear, you know it's dry and it's ready to accept the foil. So once I've applied this, I'm just going to set it aside and let that go clear. So I've decided what papers I'm going to use, and now while I'm waiting for my gel to dry, I'm going to cut my papers. So I'm starting with this one. It is Daydream Sun Shower, and I'm cutting that 5 inches by 12 inches. That's the yellow. The grey spot is Daydream Garden Variety, and I'm cutting that at 7.5 by 6.5. And the third pattern paper that will have a fishtail cut in one end is from the Sunkissed range called Summer Lights, and I'm cutting that 2.5 inches by 8.5 inches. I originally cut the grey spot to a smaller size but didn't like the look of it when I assembled it, and so I went for the bigger size, which is the size that I already mentioned. That's the 7.5 by 6.5. Both of these photos started out as 6x4s, but they had a lot of wasted space on them, so I trimmed them down and then used my emery board to file around the edge of each photo. This gives each photo a nice fine white border, and now I'm going to mat them onto a piece of black cardstock. I'm going to leave about 1/8 of an inch all the way around each of the photos. They will both sit on the same mat, so there will only be 1/8 of an inch between the two. Now I'm going to use my black Versacolour ink cube to ink around each of my pattern papers. I'm also going to cut a fishtail in one of the narrow ends of the rainbow coloured paper. I'm going to find the centre of my strip, so come in about 1.25 inches, and I'm going to measure up 3/4 of an inch and then cut from each side up to that centre 3/4 inch mark. Now I'm going to cut my tag. I'm going to use this uniquely creative tags, tops and tails die to do that. I've cut it from the Daydream Stepping Stones paper. I'm inking around the edge of it, and I've used some black cardstock to cut the little tab that goes around the hole at the top of the tag. I'll stick that on using some liquid glue. I use art glitter glue because I like the way that dries perfectly clear with no shine to it. Okay, my gel is dry now, so I'm going to add my foil. I'm using gold Fab Foil. I keep it on this clip because I find it too fiddly to try and keep it back in the packet each time, but by keeping it on that clip you have to be careful that you don't wipe the foil off before you're ready to use it. So simple to do this. Once your gel is dry, you lay your foil on top with the shiny pretty colour up, and then I use a brayer to run over it because it's a nice weighty tool, but you can just rub over it with your hand, or you can use like a burnishing tool or whatever you like, but I find the brayer does a good job. So you can apply this foil as many times as you like until you get a good coverage, and as you can see, you don't have to use a new piece of foil each time. You can just reuse the same piece over and over until there's no foil left on it. Now I'm going to attach all of my pattern papers to my layout, to my background, and I'm going to use double-sided tape for that. I started out by putting the largest piece on the background, and that was a mistake, of course, because all of the other pieces go behind it, but luckily enough I was able to pick that up or move it up enough that I was able to get the other patterns behind it. I added some scrap cardboard to the back of my photo mat before I attached it to my layout. I've been using old packing boxes and things like that to add the dimension to my layouts and cards lately. I find that it's a good solid backing and it doesn't crunch or give way in any way, so you know that your resin pieces are going to stay that way. Now for my title, I've used my Sizzix 662-667 alphabet die, and I've cut from black cardstock the name of the place we were visiting it in these photos, and now I'm going to use my art glitter glue and my reverse tweezers to attach that to my layout. I'm going to use the stripes on the yellow paper as a bit of a guide to getting the heading straight, or the title straight, even though the lines are not actually straight. It just gives me a bit of an idea of where I'm going. And these reverse tweezers make it so easy to handle these fiddly little letters. I don't know what I ever did before I had them. I have to say that if you haven't got them, they're definitely worth investing in. They're not that expensive. So here's a comparison between my layout and the sketch. You can see I've stuck fairly well to the sketch. It's looking a little bit unfinished to me, so I'm going to use my fountain pen and draw a scribbly border around each of the pattern papers and the page. My fountain pen ran out of ink, and I don't know if there's many of you out there that use fountain pens, but I just love mine. My daughter gave it to me for Christmas, I think not last Christmas, the one before, and it's the type that takes the cartridges. It's a Lumi or something like that, and I love it. So, and the cartridges are so easy to change over, and you always get such a beautiful line with it. So if you're thinking or looking for a good pen to use on your layouts, I would really recommend a fountain pen. The ink is permanent, so yeah, it's great. Anyway, I just left that bit in there about changing the ink cartridge, because those of you that have got or haven't got a fountain pen might think about trying one out. The final touch for my layout today is to add a coat of Glossy Accents to my title. It's very easy to do this because the Glossy Accents bottle has got very fine tip on it, and you can easily stay within the borders of your letters. But if you don't, I find that if I use like a needle point, and just the Glossy Accents will scrape up. So, you know, if too much gets on there, you can move it about with a needle point. Anyway, thank you for watching my video today. I hope you've enjoyed watching it. It's a really simple layout, but I like it. I'm really happy with it. That sketch, as I said, is from 2015, and the blog that it relates to is no longer going, but I'm very glad that they created the sketch. And if you I'll put a link below to the challenge over at Mystical Scrapbooks if you want to pop over, because there'll be three sketches for you to choose from. This is just one of them. And yeah, so I hope you can pop over and have a look at that. I'll also put in the description box a link to any of the products that I've used that I think might be helpful for you. And yeah, if you're not already a subscriber, I'd love it if you would subscribe to my channel. And if you click the bell next to the subscribe button, you'll be notified when I upload a new video. I do one a week, sometimes a bit more, sometimes it might be 3 in 2 weeks or something like that, but generally I try to aim for one a week. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed my video, and I hope that you can join me when I post my next video. Thanks for being here. Bye.